afternoon. How are we all doing? Afternoon, Ian, Crumb, Gregors, Fletch. How are we doing? Virginia. Half the people that were here this morning, back again. Happy New Year. If I haven't said Happy New Year. Otherwise, Happy New Year again. How are we doing? Afternoon, Ryan. Afternoon, Hamza. So, yeah. Busy morning. Some nice movement on the US dollar this morning. Very good. Good start to the year. So banked 0.82% today. Up 1% on the week already, which is nice. And had lovely, nice breaks on the stock index Hedge EA this morning. So yeah, all going very, very well. So yeah, we'll see what happens with the US this afternoon. We've got some big movement on the US, obviously, because the US dollar's been rallying. The indices have been collapsing today. So we're 125 ADR across the board on the US indices. So might be a bit tired this afternoon, but we also might get a nice fast pullback. So if we get a nice fast pullback, hopefully that will be part of the open and we'll get a nice clean breaks, but we'll see what happens. Hornors. Afternoon, Julio, Mumo, Segar. Compliments of the new year. Neo, very posh. Compliments of the new year to you all. Afternoon, David. So banked loads this morning, which is good. Just taking a new position for those of you that were here this morning. Euro US dollar. Just got into first entry on that because of the H1 RSI extension on the US move. So can't see that continuing, but anyway, 200 ADR is a little bit optimistic. I'm going to go for a target about 125 ADR from where we are. I get the feeling we're going to come down and retest this anyway. So this might be a scale in, but we'll see. So yeah, first entry on that one today. And I've got some US dollar, some yen longs on at the moment. Although I might regret those, but anyway, we'll see. We're doing gap fills on the Aussie at the moment. So the Aussie had a gap fill. We looked at this morning. That's all underway at the moment. So once that gap fill's done, we can do what we like with those. But CAD yen gap fill is working as well. And pound yen's already done it. Pound's not been very good today. Not very happy, the pound, although that is pulling back now as well. So all the moves we've had today basically is starting to sort of unravel themselves a little bit. Afternoon, EMAC. Virginia, do the Euro US dollar Euro CAD track? Well, yeah. So Euro CAD, if you look at the Euro CAD and then look at the Euro US dollar, actually, the US and the CAD might be a little bit out of sync moving forward, but obviously the Canadian dollar normally moves with the US dollar. So when obviously the US dollar rallies, the CAD will rally. So if you've got the same position on Euro US and Euro CAD, you're going to find them obviously move at the same time. But from a correlation perspective, they're not actually that correlated at the moment. Correlation changes on different pairs as different things happen in the world. So but obviously when you get a US dollar rally, you get a CAD rally usually. So if you look at the Euro CAD today, we've had a rally on the CAD as well. Not as strong because it's the US dollar that's been moving. So this has just come down to a nice support. So good support bounce, look here. So target back up in that propulsion gap, or potentially looking at coming back and retesting that 3-week high. Possibly. So, got 3 minutes to the open. There's no news today at all. We are bank holiday in Japan and Switzerland. Bank holiday in Japan tomorrow. First news kicks off tomorrow afternoon with the PMI figures for the US. And then we've got the FOMC meeting minutes. As I said this morning, if you were here this morning, unlikely we're going to get anything in here that we haven't heard before, because there hasn't been any fundamentals that have really changed since the FOMC meeting on the 13th of December. So these meeting minutes should reflect what we had previously. Nothing's really changed. So I'm not expecting any big shocks tomorrow. We'll probably get some movement off of it. We always do, but I'm not expecting anything really to particularly move on the US tomorrow. We've got CPI for Germany on Thursday. So that's the first report on the CPI. Germany has been obviously dropping. So we're expecting a tick up in inflation, as we are with everybody. So we'll see what happens there. We got non-farm employment change, which is normally on the Wednesday, but that's been moved to the Thursday because of the bank holiday, and unemployment claims. And then on Friday, we've got the unemployment rate for the US and the Canadian dollar, which is obviously non-farm payroll. So busy week, but it all kicks off tomorrow afternoon. So there's nothing scheduled today at all. Afternoon, Peter. So all we can do today really is just watch and see what happens. And as you can see, we've had a fair bit of movement off of the US. So we've got Aussie US as an ADR. So if you're looking at ADR reversals, Aussie US is ADR. That's also at support on the weekly. Yeah. So it's really weird being on a Tuesday and not having any trading at all on a Monday. So that's last Friday. And then Euro US dollar and the pound US dollar have both hit 125 ADR. So if you are trading ADR reversals, you would have got in exactly the same place as I did there. There was a reversal alert there, which has just been invalidated by a new low, and that was off of 100 ADR, also 125. So regardless if you're trading ADR reversals or RSI H1M5 with the EA, that would have got you in the same place. Again, good confirmation of it doesn't matter really if you're trading H1M5 mean reversion or you're trading ADR reversals, you're often going to get exactly the same trades because they are systems based on extension. So yeah, two opportunities there, pound US dollar and Euro US dollar for longs. I've just got out of my pound US dollar short because I'm expecting that to mean revert, obviously, back up into there somewhere. So yeah, a few opportunities there. And you've got Euro US dollar and pound US dollar extending on the hourly as well. So yeah, good opportunities there. And obviously, as I said, I'm in the Euro US dollar already as a first entry. Indices, we are off while I was waffling. Dow, nice clean break to the upside on the Dow, hedged on the S&P, short on the NASDAQ. Right old mixed bag today. So obviously, as we know, we've had a big drop on these indices. So I wouldn't expect an awful lot more downside momentum. However, it's the first day of the year, first day of the quarter. Anything can happen. That US dollar's been rallying like crazy, isn't it? So I would expect some kind of pullback off of the move that we've had this morning, but it all depends on which way the volume and the momentum is going to go. So we just wait and see what happens today. But it could be a bit of a tricky one today. We could have a bit of a whipsaw because the market's already exhausted. And quite often that happens. We get exhausted and we just sit there and we can't get anywhere because the market's put all the volume in during the pre-market session. But we'll wait and see what happens. So, Dow is the only clean break so far. NASDAQ's gone short, but kind of struggling. There's a lot of volume coming through. You can see there's an awful lot of volume today. So hopefully I get that TP hit on the Dow. Upside on these is going to be quite tricky. So if we're looking at, obviously, all these indices are due a drop because we've had that massive rally throughout the entire month of December. So this could well be the start of the market structure shift back to the downside and that profit take move on the December rally starting to get underway. So if that is the case, when you're looking at pullbacks, you want to be a bit careful. In fact, I am actually going to close that Dow out there. Just going to close that one out. Only reason I'm closing that is because I'm watching the NASDAQ trying to rally short and the S&P struggling to go long. If these two actually do continue this rally, the Dow's going to get dragged down with it. So better take profit on it. It's so close. There's my TP and there's the high. It's too close to take a chance on it, basically just pulling down and hedging. So I'm just going to take that one off. So yeah, if we're going to pull back, as you can see on all of these, that's your December rally, which obviously we haven't had a profit take move on yet at all. So we've had that sort of push back where it looked like we were starting to do that profit take move. We then continued up, broke that high, sat up there, and we've just started now to look like we've got the structure breaking back down to the downside. So it's a case of how far we're going to pull back. If we're going to stay in a bull market, the US dollar is forecast to drop, obviously, which will rally the indices, which will rally the stock market. So if we are going to pull back, it's how far. So obviously, we've got that big propulsion move on the Dow as a target to the downside. Ooh, off we go. For the S&P, we've got this low, which is potentially what we could form. So it's this low here and there. That could potentially use that propulsion gap to form a range. And then we've got the propulsion move with multiple propulsion moves there, which we could pull back into. So downside on it, you've got another sort of ADR to 2 ADR maybe to pull back to the downside on all these indices at the moment. Unlikely it's going to do it in one day. So that's this week, pulling back this week, and then potentially we could start that rally back to the upside. But it depends what happens with the meeting minutes this week with FOMC. If they say anything in there that upsets the market that they weren't expecting, but we'll see. NASDAQ, nice break to the downside. S&P is struggling quite badly. We can't actually get a rally going on that. So that's going to be a tricky one today. Just getting ready to close this NASDAQ. Yeah, I'm going to close the Dow as well. I'm getting out the Dow completely. I'm taking TP on the NASDAQ as well. So just banking that because I've got $120 hedge on. So that banks me 270. So just guaranteeing a profit for the day, basically. If that is going to continue to rally to the downside and we're going to get that US dollar strength. So basically what I'm looking at is that's the pullback complete on the Dow, done at the open, and now it's going to collapse. This could well just turn into a flag. We're just going to do a flag break and go today, and off we are. So see what happens, but just want to lock some profit in today. I'm just being overly cautious today. So with the DAX and the FTSE this morning, both of those are profitable. So I've already banked on both of those this morning. So that's profit. That's profit. Both this morning are profit. This is the only hedge I've got to deal with today. So I'm just locking in money basically because it's the first day of the year and we've no idea if we're going to get some crazy run today. So just being a little bit over cautious. That does look like it's pulling back a little bit, that Euro US now. So the US dollar weakening a little. We've just had a reversal on the pound US dollar. So there's your reversal. So that would be your entry if you're taking the ADR reversal or you've taken the H1M5 mean reversion. So there's your extension, and that would be your first entry just going in now. Look to target somewhere and round about those lows, I would. Right. So I just want to see what happens to this. I'll go and have a look at the FX pairs in a minute. I just want to see if this breaks this low on the NASDAQ. Because if we break that low, we've got a good chance of getting a run on this today. TP2 is here, which is 5R to the downside. That's within that low. So I just want to see if we break that low. Because if we break this low from pre-market, there's nothing really to stop this until we get back down into that weekly support, which is 175 ADR. Similarly, downside on that, it's 250 ADR to the downside. There goes the NASDAQ, look. Okay, that's 150 ADR on the NASDAQ. Big move. Just pulling that stop down on the NAS. I see that, can you? Just pulling the stop down on the NAS. Just to the just above the pre-market. Just locking in a bit more profit. So that's 2.5 hour locked in more on the NAS. Just really, we're so extended. We're 150 ADR. I can't believe this thing's going to collapse any further today. So I'm just trying to lock in as much profit as I can, just to pay for this hedge, really. Blimey. If anybody's got any pairs specifically they want to look at, let me know. I'm not going to go through every single pair today. I've done that this morning. So if you do want a kind of an analysis of every pair, I did that in the live room this morning. So watch this morning's live room replay. There's not actually an awful lot to report, basically, because today is all about finding out where the market wants to go. Because we've got lots of gaps and gaps get filled. So the main plays today were gap fills. If we get extended, go for the gap fill or just go for the gap fill. There's no RSI extensions apart from the Euro US and the Pound US that we've already looked at. So going through everything, as you can see, the last 2 weeks are just contracted. There's nothing you can analyze on it. It's either going to break out of these ranges or remain in these ranges. Unlikely it's going to break out of them. Remain in them because they're too tight. But there's not really a lot to analyze on anything because we need to give the market a few days to kickstart because we've had like reduced volatility and most of the movement that we've seen specifically on these Swiss franc pairs, which is all that's really moved in the last couple of weeks. That's all slippage. So that's more likely to undo itself. As you can see, took some trades on that, which I'm out of already. But yeah, there's not really a lot to analyze because you can't really tell which way the market is going to go yet. We need to get some momentum going. So at the moment, obviously, it looks like the US dollar wants to undo the moves of the last couple of weeks, in which case it's been really weak. US dollar CAD 125 ADR. I know that. It's already hit that. Why did that alert then? That's weird. So yeah, it's not really a lot to analyze as such until we know really where stuff is looking like it's starting to head. So new year, just have to wait for things to bed in. 4R on the NASDAQ. We don't have any stocks announced, have we? Any earnings or anything silly? Oh, Tesla. Q4 production and deliveries. Production on Tesla is up. That wouldn't be negative. I don't know why that's done that, but OPEC plans a monitoring meeting in February. Traders pair Fed rate cuts at less than 1.5% this year. Go along with that. TP2 hit on NASDAQ. So it's nice, clean, straight in, straight out, straight to target, 15 minutes, done, dusted. Thank you very much. I'll be here all week. There you go. So 400 banked on the NASDAQ, 200 banked on the Dow. So that's 540 and a 120 hedge on the S&P. So with the S&P hedge, 5R is 175 ADR. Not really sure. I like the look of that as a target to the downside, to be honest. Not really any reason for it to stop there, is there? Apart from the fact that it's 5R on the pre-market range. So I'm just going to move my TPs down to that low. So we know that's where they bought up that pullback there. So I'll look at basically trying to get a double bottom bounce off of that if it breaks further to the downside. Upside wise, it's a tricky one to the upside as well. I'm going to put it just under ADR to the upside from where we are. So that's 100 ADR from this low. So we got these lows here, which is that high there. Yeah, so we hit that. We tested it. So we know there's price action there. There's buyers and sellers there. So I'm going to watch that area for an upside. But basically, with this hedge on the S&P, the idea is to keep this hedge on. So we've got $120 locked in as profit, as loss. Take that off of that. It's a $400 day, isn't it, basically? Plus the 400 bank this morning on the other indices. So good day. So I'm just going to let that hedge play out. I want it. I don't basically just want to get out for the sake of getting out. Just because there's a line on a chart at 5R doesn't mean it's going to stop at 5R. That's just 5 times the initial range that we had. So it's much more sense for it to move down to 200 ADR because we've got potential support. So if it breaks short, I'll get out down there and then I'll try and get an aggressive exit. Other than that, I'm just going to close that out at a loss today. There we go. Indices done. Nice and easy. Nice start to the year. New Zealand dollar, US dollar ADR. God, that's a quick bounce. So yeah, we've hit ADR on New Zealand US. Not really any reason for it to bounce there specifically. But obviously this is all to do with the US dollar strength. So it's a case of seeing if that mean reverts today. But NAS 100. Just traded that. Afternoon, Amy. Do indices generally move with within ADR like FX? Yeah, everything moves within ADR. ADR is a measurement of the average range of the instrument. So everything has an ADR. Absolutely everything has an ADR. And that ADR is dynamic and adjusts basically how that market is moving. So it's not specific to Forex. It's the average daily range of an instrument. Works in stocks, works in crypto, works in everything. Everything has a range that it moves on average, doesn't it? When it moves beyond that average, it's extended. When it's extended, normally you get a profit take move. So it happens on everything. Indices, the difference between indices and FX, obviously, is with indices, when they get beyond ADR, it could be there is a reason, i.e. a stock earning report or a multiple stock earnings reports that take it beyond its average daily range. But like anything, where it stops when it gets beyond average daily range, we don't know, do we? It's just telling us that this is very extended, and when things get extended, they tend to pull back. So all we're doing is we're saying this is extended, watch it for a pullback at some point. But when you get some signs of strength, this NASDAQ at the moment has given you absolutely no reason to press the buy button, has it? Yeah, so wait for a doji, or wait for some kind of hammer to form, or an inside bar. Just wait for some pause to say, right, they've stopped selling, so let's get on the profit take move with them. But at the moment, that's no reason to get out. Stay in. Happy New Year, IT Enigma. Enigma. Afternoon outro. I had a very good Christmas and New Year, apart from the fact that I was ill for the whole of the bit between. So basically, Boxing Day, I was like a bit sniffy. So was the wife. Day after Boxing Day, ill. And was ill basically up until pretty much Saturday morning. And then I actually managed to go for a double spin, which is my exercise. And that kind of cleared it, but I've still got a bit of a headache, still feel very dry in the nose. It's still a bit like, ugh. There's a lot of crap going around at the moment. So, yeah. Apart from that, I was fine. But just didn't manage to do anything between Christmas and New Year. I think it's something to do with your immune system. I've had it before as well. I get ill at Christmas, and I don't think it's anything to do with the bugs that go around. I think your immune system drops because you stop working. Everything just goes, and then you just get ill, don't you? But apart from that, it's good. Father Christmas bought me everything I wanted, which mainly involved alcohol and chocolate, which is good. More do you need? And now I'm doing dry January. So all the alcohol and chocolate, I can't eat or drink it. Useless. The idea was to try and consume as much as possible between Christmas and New Year. And I was too ill. Never mind. Afternoon, Day Trader FX. Right. So there's your indices done. We'll just monitor this hedge. If nobody's got any FX pairs they want to look at specifically, that's pretty much it for the afternoon. I'm pretty much done. So just watch these ADRs. We got the ADR hit to the downside there. Obviously, we're looking just for a pullback. So drop down M5, wait for the reversal alert. Tiny little fly. Wait for the reversal alert to kick in and show signs of strength, and then look for a quarter to a half ADR pullback. Euro US dollar. Same thing. There's your reversal alert. Just getting on that one. I'm already on that. So there's your second reversal alert. So that was your first one. That's your second one just gone in. So there's your potential W forming now for a pullback up into there somewhere. Pound yen ADR. Ooh, it's all go today. Yeah, so ADR hit on the pound yen. It's just the yen pairs moving. Yeah, a bit of strength coming through in the yens at the moment. So that pound yen ADR. So again, your reversal, that's up there at the moment. So just looking for a pullback on that leg. I've already got one long on that already, so I'll be taking a second. Well, not yet, I won't be. I'll be taking a second at about 130 pips. So I'm going to need a bit more than that. Going to need to get down to sort of 125 ADR or so before I get into a second on that. Pound US dollar. First reversal alert has just gone in there. So that's retesting that propulsion gap nicely. So that's your reversal starting. Watch for a pushback up into that area. That's going to give you 53 pips. Half an ADR is 47. So nice half ADR distance before you hit resistance. And New Zealand US. You haven't had the reversal alert on that one yet. That's coming off of a horizontal line. That. No idea what that line is. Get rid of that. And obviously RSIs. Same thing, pound US and euro US. I went through every pair this morning, so if you want a full analysis of everything, which isn't much, go and have a look this morning on the replay. MRA, EA, ADR would be feasible for indices. Yeah, I haven't tested it, but yeah. Not for position trading, for stop loss trading, yeah. Yeah. It's basically mean reversion, isn't it? So there's only three strategies. There's only three strategies that exist. You got breakouts, trends, and mean reversion. There's only three things the market can do. It can break out of a range, it can trend, or it can revert back to the mean of a move. All it does. So if you're not going to use the opening range breakout EA or the stock index hedge EA to take an initial break of price action and momentum on the indices, you can wait for the indices to have moved and then mean revert that rally. So in that case, if you're not going to use stock index hedge or opening range breakout EAs and take that movement that we got there, you will be now monitoring this with the market reversal alerts EA, waiting for the buyers to take control, give you a reversal alert, and then mean revert that leg. So that's the beauty of mean reversion. This is what, this is why I keep saying mean reversion is the best strategy, because it works in all market conditions, doesn't it? So if you are in a trend, it will mean revert as it trends. So every single one of those is an opportunity to make money. If the market is broken out, it will come back and retest the breakout and mean revert. If the market is in a range, it's doing nothing but reverting to the mean. So if you're a mean reversion trader, however you take that mean reversion trade, you're always going to have an opportunity to make money. If you're a trend trader, you can only make money once a breakout has happened and a trend has formed. Pointless, because the market spends 80% of its time in range. So therefore, you can only trade 20% of market time. What's the point of that? 80% of the time, what are you going to do the rest of it? Yeah. So yeah, if you want to do use the market reversal alerts EA on indices, just set them up to trade at 100 or 125 ADR and take the reversals. You look at the indices and the way they tend to move. Yeah. So when they're trending, you get big, strong pushes and accumulations. Big, strong pushes and accumulations. Yeah. Big, strong pushes. That one mean reverted. But you quite often will find that you'll get that mean reversion the same day. So when they're not pushing and waiting to put new legs in, they will spend the day in rotation. If you get to ADR and you're going into a rotation day, you're always going to get that mean reversion. Look at the DAX today. So this was the DAX trade today. When it decides to open. Okay. So that was today's DAX trade, look. So we got hedged, got out at 5R on the longs, took the aggressive short exit. Yeah. So at the moment, it looks like we're doing a rotation day, doesn't it? Yeah. So we pushed up, we pushed down, coming back into rotation. So we're literally just rotating today. If you're going to get that and you get a strong push up to ADR, you get out on the mean reversion during the rotation day, won't you? So yeah, they're probably very good. But personally, I'd rather take momentum breakouts because some days they will put in 200 ADR moves like today. And in which case, then you're not going to find it as easy to make money. But look, big strong push, mean reversion. Big strong push, mean reversion. There's a million ways to make money. They all work. You just don't know which one you're going to need on which day, do you? So we're just starting to pull back on the NASDAQ. So watch for a push back into, at least back into there. It's going to continue. Pound Swiss is just at ADR. Yeah, I mean, again, looks like this Swiss franc's rallying again, doesn't it? But if you actually look at it, it's doing the gap fills that we said about this morning. We haven't done that gap fill yet, so there's no point in really looking at anything until we've got these gaps all done and we know basically where everything's going to go this week. So too difficult to figure stuff out today. Right. So if nobody's got anything else to look at, that's pretty much it for today. There's not a lot really, as I said, you can analyze today because we've got no news day. We're coming out the back, obviously, of the Christmas break. The market's just having tons and tons of commercial orders executed in it today. So it could be stupid, crazy ADR runs. It could just go whippy and end up where it was this morning. We've no idea what's going to happen today. So basically, any opportunities you get into, you've got a good chance of them playing out or getting stung. So just be a bit careful, basically, with anything that you take today intraday. Positions that I'm in at the moment, obviously, banked quite nicely today. I've got some yen exposure on and now euro US dollar. That's it. So I'm just waiting for things to get extended because we haven't got anything on the RSI dashboards lit up yet. So just a case of waiting for this news to get underway to give us some indications as to whether we're going bullish or bearish at the beginning of the year. We just don't know where we're going at all yet. So we need some data and we need some movement from the banks so that we can get an idea where we're going to be heading. So, all right. So that's all I've got for you today. If you're in the hedge on the S&P, you're back inside the opening range again. Look, there you go. It's just done that mean reversion. So I want this to have moved a long way before I get out today. I'd much rather just take that because I've got all this profit and just, take the loss on this one. But if it does move all the way back up to there, I will get out. And if it does move all the way down to that target at the weekly low, which is 225 ADR, I know just over 200 ADR, I'll get out down there. So I want another ADR movement basically in either direction from where we are, which then it will want to mean revert. So that's all I'm going to do on those. As I say, we need some clues as to direction, don't we? So there's no point in trying to speculate where we're going with this at the moment. It's going to go where it's going to go today. So just need to hang on tight and wait. So tomorrow's news, 3 o'clock, we got PMIs. That's our first news of the week. And then we've got FOMC tomorrow evening. So on a normal day, we would be saying we're probably not going to get a lot of movement tomorrow because they'll be waiting for FOMC. But FOMC this time round should be the same as last time because we've had no data in between that's made any difference. So I think probably tomorrow we'll get some movement started in the proper direction, hopefully, for the US dollar. So we get some clues as to where we're heading in January. But overall this year, everything should be coming down, shouldn't it? US dollar CAD ADR. So we've got an ADR hit on that one as well. Sorry, RSI rather. Extension. 150 ADR has been hit on the US dollar CAD as well, which we know. quite sure why that suddenly started alerting me twice to everything. As soon as I open the US dollar CAD, it seems to alert me. I already know that. Odd. Alerts are all turned off. Don't know why I'm getting that. AZ, took a little bit off of my risk on the US dollar CAD. Was in 8.5% drawdown this morning, and now it's under 3%. This is why we wait. This is why we use ADR. So that's your entry, isn't it? 133.575. Well, that was your average, wasn't it? We looked at it this morning. So yeah, but you know, this is the whole thing with position trading, isn't it? We sit in drawdown for ages, waiting for an ADR move to get a profit. This is why we try and keep price within an ADR, because we know after a move there will be a strong move back in the opposite direction, which tends to be an ADR hit. So you know, this is being in 8% of drawdown and suddenly finding yourself in 3% of drawdown. Very, very quick and easy to do. So your choice now, what you do with that. Obviously, we've got, as you know, like I just said, you can't really analyze this. Ordinarily, if we were in a normal day, week, month, I would be saying, looks like structure has broken now to the upside and we're going to do that. However, this is the bit in between Christmas where there's not really been any trading. So you can't read any of that price action. We do know that we've got that previous FOMC rate announcement move, which high probability we'll test again. But it may just be down leg starting. Don't know. So your choice as to whether you knock it on the head, obviously, and take the loss, or what. Obviously depends how your P&L is, basically, isn't it? How your month was last month. If you made 10, 15, 20% last month, take a 3% hit on this, reset, start again. However, if this does do that, pulls back into that support and then bounces all the way up to there, don't blame me. I didn't move it. The banks did. That's good. There you go. 5% off of your P&L. Literally in 4 hours. Right. I'll move that off there because otherwise I'm going to think I've drawn a support and resistance and I'll confuse myself at a later date. So that's it for this afternoon. Anything you need, I'll be in Telegram. I'm back tomorrow morning, 7:50 for the European session as usual. We'll trade the DAX, and I've started trading the FTSE as well, for those that weren't here this morning. And then obviously back tomorrow afternoon, 2:20 for the New York session. So tomorrow we'll be able to see what happens with these PMIs. But at the moment, it's just a case of waiting for stuff to get stretched and start new positions. So Euro US dollar is the only thing I've entered into today. And we'll just see where the market takes us this year. All right. So have a good afternoon. Anything you need, I'll be in Telegram. Other than that, I will be back tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon. So have a good day and I'll see you then.